Hey everybody, Desert Guardian here. Today we get to talk about something really exciting. This is the Sig Sauer P320, and as everybody knows, it's been all over the news, all over the internet for many different reasons. Some really awesome and some kind of strange, but without further ado, let's dig into it. So here's the box. Let's see what's in the box. Open it up, and we've got the instruction manual, user manual, paperwork, plastic bag, spare magazine, gun lock, Sig Sauer's holster that it comes with, and of course the P320. We'll pull that out and we'll set the box aside. So this one is the P320 Carry, which is a 17 round carry size pistol designed to be concealed and falls into that category kind of like the industry standard, more like the Glock 19 size, you know, the 4-ish inch barrel compact size that most people are using for a carry pistol. So let's talk about this. So as everybody knows, the P320 just recently won the Army contract for the new duty pistol, beating out the Beretta that's been around for ages and ages, and also beating out other entrants like the Glock and things like that. So there were several requirements in the competition, and we'll go over some of those. So the first of which was no finger grooves. So as you can see, no finger grooves in this one. It took Glock went to finger grooves in Gen 3 and then back out of it in Gen 5 because of the competition. I personally don't like the finger grooves in this size pistol, but as you can see, it does have a little bit of a front swell to it, mainly because it's got this really nice undercut for the trigger here, and it fits perfectly on my middle finger. The rear of the grip also has a very small swell, not like the larger palm swell of the old 1911s or even the Glocks, but just a bit of a rounded. The Sig has a little bit of a beaver tail here, so when you're gripping this thing, boy, does it lock in nicely. Your thumb gets right up in there, middle finger right in that undercut, and it just has a really nice positive grip on it. So very impressed with that. One of the other requirements in the military contract was to be an ambidextrous pistol. So it does have a reversible mag release, and it has the righty and lefty slide release. So that took Glock 5 generations to figure out, but yeah, this has got it. And so that was some of the major issues that the military wanted resolved before they picked out a new duty weapon. The most important one is a modular design. And there's a lot of, what is modular design questions out there. Can I switch out the slides? Can I put a different barrel in it? What defines modular design? Now, the P320 hit the nail on the head. It is truly a modular design, as in you can switch everything with one chassis. Let me show you that. So drop the mag, clear it. So disassembly on this one's pretty standard. Lock it open. It's brand new, so it's nice and stiff. Oop. Flip that around if it's gonna behave. It's gonna try not to behave, but oh wow, that is nice and stiff and new. And one neat thing about the P320, unlike the Smith & Wesson or the Glock, you don't have to pull the trigger to take the slide off. Wow, innovative. So here is the disassembled frame. Looks a lot like most of the striker fired pistols out there when they're disassembled, but this one's a little bit different, and I'll show you why. We'll slide this out. It's got a notch in it, so sometimes you got to spin it around to find the correct location. There we go. Now this is where it gets interesting, the true modular design. So we'll pull the complete chassis right out of the frame. This is the firearm. This is the serial number. This is what you are registering and paying for when you buy the P320 series. So true modular design means, hey, this is what I just, registered in my name. This is what I bought at the gun shop, and if I want to, I can swap all this out. So this is the carry size. Like I mentioned earlier, they do make it in a subcompact. They make it in a full size. They make it in a TAC Ops. They do it like an X5 version. And you can buy these kits to change the size of your P320. So if I want to have a full size, a subcompact, and a carry, essentially I go out and I buy kits that look like this. Has a different empty husk of a frame, different slide, and you keep your chassis and it goes in the new one. So not only can you change the frame size and the size of the pistol, but you can also change the caliber. You can go from 9mm to 40 cal to 357 Sig, all while maintaining the single pistol that you bought. It's basically like Legos for big kids. So disassembly was easy. I'll show you the reassembly. And this was the biggest modular innovation available during the military contracting, and that's one of the reasons why they want it. So to put it back together, you know, the Sig has a little bit of a beaver tail, which is reflected right here in the chassis. So the rear is going to drop in first, kind of snug it in, give the trigger a little nudge, and snaps right in, just like so. So now, when you're reassembling it, you'll notice this disassembly pin here has a little flat section here, essentially a little notch. That little notch sits about the 5 o'clock position inside the chassis. So to put that back together, take that about the 5 o'clock position, and it does take a little bit of wiggle in and a little bit of movement. Let's pop that back where it's supposed to be, and drops in there. Make sure it matches up on the other side. Pop it in, and we're good to go. Now we can put the slide back on. Slides back on, snap it in, good to go. Fully assembled, just like that. So that's the modular design. I mean, I think it's actually pretty amazing. If you want to own 3 pistols that are all different sizes, literally 30 seconds to take it apart, another 30 seconds to put it back together, and you're good to go. So that's the biggest newsmaker that it had, was winning that military contract. Of course, it's not the designation for the 320. It's the new M17 would be or XM17 is the new military designation for the pistol, but essentially it is the same guts as, or the same physically as this pistol that you can pick up at any gun store. I picked this one up at Pistol Parlor just yesterday, and man, I tell you, I'm impressed with it so far. So let's move on to the other newsmaker about the P320, the trigger. Now everybody's seen it. Everybody's seen the memes. Everybody's seen the viral videos. Everybody's seen the accidental discharges if you drop it the exact right way. So you know who else has seen it? Sig Sauer. So as soon as that came out, what they did was they issued a voluntary recall on every P320 ever made from the first one that ever went off the line. So let me go into a little bit of depth of what was going on. So the trigger on this is a metal trigger, and it has a little bit of weight to it. And the inertia, if it was dropped perfectly like this, so essentially if it hit like this from a certain height, had to hit pretty perfectly, the inertia would sway this trigger back just enough to have an accidental discharge. So people were making viral videos and slamming them against the ground and dropping them off of garages and everything to try and get them to go off, and sure enough they did. So like I said, Sig stepped up. They said, oh, you know what, we're gonna do a voluntary recall. So it is not necessary to do the recall, but they want to make sure that if anybody is uncomfortable with it, that they're going to take care of it. Now this one is brand new from Pistol Parlor. It does not have the voluntary recall done because that's up to the consumer, not the shop. Now the recall on it isn't just replacing the trigger. You know, I've got a good buddy who has one of these with the Apex Flatty trigger in it, and the recall still applied to him. And the reason is they don't just replace the trigger. They replace the trigger, the sear, the disconnect, everything. So when you send it in for the recall, you're sending in the whole slide assembly and the chassis, because it's a pretty comprehensive replacement of parts. The biggest part of which, of course, is the trigger, a lighter weight trigger. Now, the military, the XM17 version of this already had a lighter trigger in it, so those aren't a part of the voluntary recall, which is great because I'm sure they've probably already produced 1 million of those and shipped them off to our Army boys. So yeah, so that's the trigger issue. Personally, like I said, I don't have any experience with anything going off, or I've never seen it in person. You can jump on the internet and you can find any viral video or any statistic to prove or disprove anything. But like I said, Sig Sauer stepped up. They said, hey, just in case, we're going to make this available to anybody. That's costing them a lot of money. they're doing a great job making sure that their public is taken care of with a fantastic pistol. So let's check out some of the physical attributes of the pistol. So this is the carry size. So they make a full size, a compact, and a carry. The carry is designed for just that. It's designed for carry. It does give you a little bit bigger grip than the compact, a little bit longer barrel, a little bit shorter barrel than the full size, but this fits right into that niche that's really been popularized by the Glock 19, that kind of industry standard size of around a 4-inch barrel and same capacity and grip size, something that, you know, everybody from smaller people, small framed women and men for that matter, all the way up to big guys like me can conceal, wrap their hands around, and be comfortable with. So this particular one, I've got my Gen 4 Glock over there to do a size comparison. So this particular one, like I said, it is the carry size. The beauty of this comes with two 17-round magazines. So you are adding 2 in capacity as compared to the Glock 19 without adding the extra barrel length of the Glock 17. So I already covered the grip on this. I really like it. It's nicely rounded. It fits my hand very well, locking the thumb and the middle finger in. Very comfortable. Got a shelf for your thumb here. It's just a great grip design. It does have a stippling style texture to it, front and back strap, and it's in there. It's good and secure. I don't have any experience with wet leather gloves or anything like that holding on to it, so I don't know how it acts in every single, or frozen gloves for that matter, but it does have a good, secure, positive grip. Right underneath the grip where the mag is, this is a neat little thing that Sig Sauer does that everybody should get on board with, is having this cutout right here at the base of the grip. It allows for a little bit of a recession on the magazine and a positive pull if you need to pull one out for a mag change if one gets stuck or what have you. Glock made a rounded cut right here in the Gen 1, 2, 3, and 5. For some reason skipped the Gen 4. But it's a little more difficult to get your thumb in this position unless you do that drinking tea pinky thing. But from here, it's easy to grab. That's something that I think is a great design with the Sig Sauer. And it's not something that, if I'm slamming one in, it's not pinching me anywhere. It's just a nice, one of those little things. You know, you always find something about something you own and it's just one little thing that impresses you. Well, that's a little thing that impresses me. So, like I said before, for the military contract, they had to be ambidextrous. So we have the reversible mag release. We have the righty and the lefty for the slide release. So it is a truly ambidextrous pistol. You know, I like the way they did the slide on it. They do have front serrations, and it's a good size to the front serrations. It's got a nice little style of a bevel on the top there. But, you know, a lot of pistols right now have about a 1/4 inch of a front serration, or you have to send it out to have front serrations put on it. This actually has a good positive grip front serration on it. That's enough of the frame that you can get a grip on it. So if you want to press check it, if you want to, you know, cock it from the front or the rear, you do have good serrations on it. And they're a nice cut to them and have a little bit of a lip to them, but aren't really overly aggressive. So they're not going to, you know, give you bloody knuckles if you do that. So yeah, the frame is really nice. Does have a little bit of a front nose cut. Sig always has like carry melt versions of stuff where they truly round it. This is not one of those, but it does have a little bit of a bevel, and of course the bevel on the top, so it's going to be easy in and out of holsters. Great design there. They do run a little bit of a beaver tail on it. Some people like it, some people don't. I like it. I'm a you know, I'm a 1911 guy. I like having the little flare on there. You can get either the night sights or the standard Siglite sights. Has the nitron finish on it, so it's a non-reflective, really tough finish on it. That nitron they've been running a long time on their pistols, and it holds up really well to wear, holster wear, you know, just general abuse. So another thing they do on this is they run a standard Picatinny rail on it. That's been a bone of contention with Glock for a long time, as Glock has their quote-unquote Glock rail, which I've got my Gen 4 right here. We're going to do a size comparison. So the Glock rail has one slot. So if you have, like Inforce makes the Glock APL with where it's designed to go in one slot. It's not interchangeable. The good news is when you're running a Picatinny rail like Sig Sauer is, you do have multiple locations for multiple applications of accessory on the bottom. Even one that's designed for Glock only is going to fit perfectly right in that first slot and work really well. So I like having the option there, the Picatinny rail, the full-length Picatinny rail. Something that Sig's always done. Well, not always, of course. In the 80s, their old 9mm didn't have any rail at all, but neither did the Gen 1 and Gen 2 Glocks. But yeah, so standard Picatinny rail there, great little setup. So like I said, let's do a little size comparison. So here's the Glock 19. This is my Gen 4. It kind of always been the industry standard, like I said, for the carry size pistol. Sure, you can get a 26 that's even smaller. You can get a 19. People carry all different kinds, but the 19 is sort of the go-to. It always has been. It's just a fact. So this one, being the carry size, is going to have a little bit bigger grip on it. But let's pop these mags in, and we'll just set them on top of each other and take a look. So if I drop the Glock right on top, you can see the barrel on the Glock is a tiny bit longer, but just because it sticks out, this is an aftermarket barrel, so that's part of it. But the slides are approximately the same length. Now the Glock looks a little bit longer because it's got this big square edge that sticks out, where the Sig has more of a slant, like a fastback to it, and then the beaver tail. So the Glock looks longer in one spot, the Sig looks longer in the other, but they're very similar in size. So let's go sideways here. And you can see, hopefully you can get the right angle there, you can see the Sig is going to be a little bit bigger in the bottom of the grip. So let's go over like this. And you can see it's sort of the width of a mag plate difference. It does give you 2 extra rounds. So like I said, it's a 17 round capacity. So if you're at the point where your frame is small enough as a person and you're carrying at a 3 or 4 o'clock where you absolutely can't deal with the extra 1/4 of an inch of width on the carry size, go to the compact size, because then you're in a 15 round. Then you're about here. So but the carry size, like I said, it gives you that extra 2 rounds. It fits me really, really well. It's a very, very nice size pistol for a carry designation. But yeah, that's it. That's the Sig Sauer P320 Carry Nitron. You know, it's an awesome setup. It really is. You know, if you want to go out and you want to pick up the kits to go different sizes, that's available. It's the military is going to be using these. I guarantee there's going to be aftermarket stuff available for it. With the amount of these being produced for the military and for the private sector right now, the interchangeability of the chassis with different frames and different calibers, so you get the size and caliber difference. I know Apex has already put out a trigger for it. A buddy of mine's running that in his, and he absolutely loves it. I can't wait to go compare the factory trigger with the Apex trigger and really give it a whirl. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, concerns, or comments, feel free to comment below, and I'll get back to them as soon as humanly possible. But there it is. That's the Sig Sauer P320 Carry. Very nice setup. Picked it up from Pistol Parlor yesterday. I'll put their website at the end of the video so you can check them out. They got great deals and lots and lots and lots of these things. As for now, there's the 320. Desert Guardian, out.